If you're a fan of vampires, then you're gonna absolutely love this video. In 1979, a made-for-TV movie came out called Salem's Lot. Well, guess what? Today, we're visiting what was known as Jerusalem Lot, and then became Salem's Lot. Yes, this is the filming locations to Stephen King's book, well, his movie, the movie, directed by Tobe Hooper. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, Poltergeist, Invaders from Mars. He also directed this. We give you Salem's Lot.
Wherever I come, bad luck just comes my way. Wherever I go, hard luck is there to stay. Good luck never stays a day. A bad luck's always coming my way.
Do you believe a thing can be inherently evil? The Marston House, for instance.
Open the window. He commands it.
Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. Bill! Bill!
Where are you, Benny darling?
In real life, the town of Salem's Lot is actually called Ferndale, California. And right now we're standing on Bluff Street. Just past that tree is the Marston House. The creepy, creepy house from the movie Salem's Lot that you all want to see. Well, I've got a little bit of a surprise for you. As we walk up to the Marston House, I do want to point out that to the left of me right here, you can see this white picket fence. It's not the same one from the movie in 1979, but there is a white fence still here. And you can see it at the very beginning of the movie when you're introduced to the house. Jessica's already walked ahead of me a little bit. So I think this is a great time to tell you a little bit about the house. Now, it's not what you think. The house, the Marston House from the movie Salem's Lot, the 3-story Gothic Addams Family looking mansion, that was all built. It wasn't even a functioning house. It was a facade, kind of like what they did with the movie Pet Sematary across the street from the main house, Judd's house. They built this 3-story facade with the front steps and the cellar on the side. It was all fake. But we can line up some things. This right here, you see that little blue house up there? That's the real Marston House. Because things have changed so much and we know that the house itself was a facade, we really can't line up shots. But the very opening shot of the movie, you see that white fence that's behind Jessica? The camera, the opening shot, the camera was on the other side of the fence. It used to stretch further down this road. It doesn't. Instead, it stops right there. And you see the house as the movie starts. The credits start rolling. It's nighttime and it starts getting lighter and lighter, and then all of a sudden it's daylight. It's crazy that it doesn't look anything like that. I will say this though, the house truly is on the outskirts of town. Like I said, we're standing on Bluff Road, but if we were to keep going right down this road, it would take us right into the heart of town. And you guessed it, Ferndale, California, Jerusalem's Lot, Salem's Lot, it was all filmed right here. Well, let me correct myself. Most of the movie was filmed here in Ferndale, California. Other scenes, close-up scenes, interior shots, filmed on sound stages down in Burbank and around the Los Angeles area. We are only focusing on the filming locations here in Ferndale, Salem's Lot. Now, please keep in mind that Salem's Lot came out over 40 years ago, but let's try to line up the shots as best as we can. After the credits roll, Ben Mears drives his Jeep right up this road that's to your left, and he parks it right over in this area where this tree is. And pay attention to that white picket fence that we've been talking about, because you can see it. And then he comes right up to right about where I'm standing, and you can see him as he turns and looks directly across the street right here at the entrance to the Marston House. You get a really good look of it. I wish it was still here. It would be really cool. It would be really, really cool if the house was an actual house and not a facade. But this is it. See all the trees, all the shrubbery, how much has changed? 40 years does that. Standing here looking at the house, Ben sees Straker come out of the front door and walk down the steps. Now keep in mind, the steps were fake too. He gets in his car, the black car, and he drives right down this driveway. And they actually lock eyes for a moment. And then he continues driving down the road, Bluff Road, into town. In the world of Salem's Lot, this house, the Marston House, was a big part of the movie. The ending happened here. This is the vampires, man, vampires. After locking eyes with Straker, Ben decides to drive into town, and the very next scene, the very next shot is right here on this road. In fact, you can see this weeds on the side of the road, that telephone pole, that mountain in the background, as well as this hillside hugging the road to the right as he drives his Jeep right past where I am standing. And since this is all one shot, that means right here on the side of the road in these weeds, right next to this fence that matches up if you look very closely, is where the sign for Salem's Lot would have been. As we head into the town of Salem's Lot, I figured I'd give you guys a little bit of information about who I am. July 12th, 1979 is the year I was born. Same year that Salem's Lot and Phantasm came out. And maybe that's why I'm a big fan of those movies. A big fan of horror movies that came out in the 70s. I grew up watching them. I mean, yes, I love the 80s, I love the 90s, and I love current horror movies. But in my household growing up, my dad, well, he wasn't so much a big horror movie fan. My mom was. And I remember watching horror movies with her growing up. Very young. To be honest, both Jessica and I are really surprised at how small Ferndale, California really is. Now in this scene, in order for me to line up shots, I gotta kind of walk out in the middle of the street. But you see this crosswalk? In this clip I'm gonna show you, you're gonna see that crosswalk in it. And the camera is pointed right down this street as Ben drives into Salem's Lot. Now I want to point out a few different things. You can see this building over here, it was white, and you can see this portion of this hotel, you can see that point of that building, but what's really interesting, that church that's down there, now it's red, but whenever they were filming, back in 1979, that church was white. And even more interesting, the cemetery from the movie is right behind that church. It really feels like Tobe Hooper shot everything in order, because as Ben turns the corner, he parks right over here in front of this white house. And if you're familiar with the movie Salem's Lot, then this house should look familiar. This was Straker's antique store. In this scene, Ben parks his Jeep right here in front of Straker's antique shop. Straker's car would have been parked right over here in the driveway. And as he gets out, Straker hears the door shut and he looks out the window, a little nosy, trying to figure out what's going on. Now I said that that window is still here. It looks like identical. That's that window right there. There's a little sign that said, "Watch out for grand opening," and he peers right out to right about where I'm standing. I know, I keep calling it Straker Antiques, when in all actuality, right here there was a sign that said Barlow Straker Fine Antiques. So, there you go.
So this is now the Ferndale Enterprise, their local paper. And I think it's just so cute that on the front page it says lights, camera, action, and it talks about the things that have been filmed here.
Oh, wow.
Let's see if they mention that one. They mentioned the Green Mile and the Mist, the Majestic.
Nothing about Salem's Lot from 1979, well, at least not on the front page. That's okay, because we are telling the story. And it's cool because it says the souvenir edition.
Let's go to page 12.
We need to keep this. Yeah, open it up to page 12 and see what we got. Was that Guy Fieri? Yeah.
Fieri. It's this article here. They do not mention Salem's Lot.
No love for Salem's Lot. I have no clue what that siren is for, but a siren is now going off. I guess as long as people don't start running. If we start seeing people run or take cover, then maybe we will be worried. I wonder what that sound is.
Well, today's a Saturday. In St. Louis, we have tornado sirens that they do it every second Sunday of the month or something.
Yeah. Oh, it's a little disturbing though. Oh, look at this.
Yeah, sometimes have that.
Why, hello. We got a little visitor. How come every time that we travel or every time we film something, you always get a little visitor?
Like animals.
How perfect is that?
I want to take them home.
Like a dark gray cat in Salem's Lot. Straker's Antique Shop is right across the street, which means Ben would have been walking this way because he was trying to find a place to stay. Right up here on the roof, there was a sign that said Crockett Realty, which means this building right here, this door, this was Crockett Realty, the office. He walked right in there. The funny thing about the Marston House, vacant for over 20 years.
Funny about the Marston House, vacant over 20 years.
Remember what I was telling you about all the filming locations for Salem's Lot being close together? Well, there's that red church that used to be white. There's the cemetery that was in the movie. We're going to be talking about that in a moment. And if we keep going down this road, it would take us to the Marston House. Well, on the other side of this fence is where Ben Mears' room was. Now, ultimately, whenever he rolled into Salem's Lot, he wanted to rent out the Marston House, but Mr. Crockett told him that it was sold. So he stayed here. This was the boarding house. And it too is very picturesque. 563 Ocean Avenue. Now, in order to see Ben's room, we have to walk around the side of the house, but his room would have been right there. It's a direct shot down the street, and right around that bend is the Marston House. So it's perfect. It's like they planned this. Let's walk around. I'm going to point the camera over here. They planned the shots as if they were shooting real life. It's almost like poetry. You can see the cemetery over there. And as soon as we turn the corner, so the corner of Craig and Ocean, let's go down to the end of the fence. What's with this place of white picket fences, right? I like them. Who am I kidding? Now Ben's room, right there. Baby Ghoul, you're always looking beautiful whenever we go out adventuring together. I see you're still reading that paper.
Yeah, well,
What's going on?
I found another article, a couple pages actually, and it's a nice big article. They do mention Salem's Lot. Check this out, see if you can see it. So 1978 Salem's Lot, but look, they show a picture of the facade being built for the Marston House, and then what it looks like today where we were already.
Yeah, look at that.
But okay, this is cool. Apparently, like most of the Majestic was filmed here. Like a lot of the townspeople who lived here at the time were here. So look, there's Jim Carrey walking down the city center, and then.
So you're telling me Jim Carrey was walking through Salem's Lot?
Yeah, look, there he is while they're filming,
Look at that.
walking down Main Street. So
Yeah.
that was 2001.
Oh, there's the theater too.
Yeah, oh, so that's a bit of cool information. Apparently, that whole theater is also a facade, and it was built in a parking lot. Check it out. You can see the scaffolding back here where they were building that, and this is just a parking lot between these two buildings.
You know, I always wished and hoped that that theater was real.
Oh, I know, it was beautiful.
So we both love that movie. Maybe
Yeah.
next time we roll through the area, we can stop and do the Majestic filming locations.
That'd be cool.
Funny thing about Ferndale, California, there is a whole bunch of churches and a whole bunch of cemeteries here. One thing for certain, this cemetery and this gate can be seen right after Danny's funeral in the movie Salem's Lot. It's still here, including that mausoleum that's up on the hill. I know it's a little hard to tell because of this angle, but there's a street that curves right through the back of the cemetery, which means the Ferndale Cemetery is where they filmed all of the cemetery scenes. Right now I'm sitting in the exact location the camera was, at the top of the hill in the cemetery. And that road, see how it curves? That's where the funeral procession was for David, for his funeral. Right about here. And I know I'm in the exact spot for two reasons. One, this little stone slab right here, but also this spigot. If you look very, very closely at the bottom of the screen, you can see the spigot right about there. This town really does have a little bit of everything, doesn't it? And so much room. If I was making a movie, this would probably be the holy grail of places, because there's so many places you can set up a camera, lighting, and everything that you need. Well, what you're looking at right now is called the Church of the Assumption. And this is where Ben gets his holy water from. And how funny is it that there's a Jeep parked right next to the church? It's not a Jeep Wrangler, it's a different type of Jeep. But still, it's a Jeep. In this scene, Ben's Jeep is parked right here in the street, and he comes right out this door with the holy water. It's a quick scene, but everything matches up. It's still framed the same exact way.
Father Callahan in there? No one's there. Blessed with his holy water.
I don't think they showed the side of the church, but my God, is this beautiful. And it's massive. Look at that compared to Jessica walking down the sidewalk. And with that being said, thank you for joining us on another adventure. This time, I can't believe I'm going to say this, to Salem's Lot. Whew. This was good. Book by Stephen King, directed by Tobe Hooper. This movie is phenomenal, and this town is absolutely beautiful. And as always, happy Halloween.
Wherever I come, bad luck just comes my way. Wherever I go, hard luck is there to stay. Good luck never stays a day. Bad luck's always coming my way.